warm?
Trying to.
Mm.
Boy, oh boy. I hear the weather's kind of crazy out in California.
Yeah, it was pouring and then it got really cold, and it's going to warm up next week.
Yeah, then we're gonna be cold. Like then we're
I
starting
know.
to get cold now, because we was a little warm last week.
Hmm.
But yeah, let's
It's the
go
way it
through it.
is. It's a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, yeah. I'm hearing y'all guys out in California getting bombs, cyclones, and
Welcome, we're live now, guys. Welcome,
all
Hey,
right.
hey,
God. Right, we're live now. Welcome to Main Event Boxing Talk, guys. How is
hey,
everyone?
how's it going? We're
All
good. I'm
righty.
good. Yeah, everything's good.
Right, let's kick things off. Adrian Broner has a new opponent in Hank Kalundi. What do you think of this?
You want to take it first, Spencer? Go ahead.
I mean, it's replacement opponents as of late have been, looking pretty good. Um, I'm not sure if Hank Lundy was scheduled to fight, so whether he was in shape or not. Um, it's about the same level as a Red Cat. So,
Well, they know each other very well. They used to spar together, and
oh, okay.
and Adrian, would get the better of him. And Lundy's like out of his past 5 fights, he's lost badly 4 of those fights. With knockouts. So it should. I mean, it depends on you know who shows up in both cases. But if Adrian Broner loses to Hank, he's a better boxer than Hank. Then he might as well just quit.
Yeah, if he loses to Hank Lundy, he could give it up.
Yeah. But that's that. What do you think, Nathan?
I think this kind of says it all about this man's career, really, doesn't it? I mean, he has these two-year layoffs, so a year and a half layoff. These are the sort of fights you can lose.
Hmm.
When you have a long layoff like he is. I still think he'll get the win. Or the judges will give it to him. I must be the only person that has no faith in Broner anymore. He doesn't throw enough punches.
He
Perfect
don't throw.
opponent.
Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't throw any punches. That's the thing. Hank Lundy might
Ever since he fought,
look good early.
Well, Hank is
ever
aggressive.
since he fought, yeah. Okay, cool.
Ever since he fought
Ever
who?
since he fought Maidana, he's
Mine.
Yeah,
That's
I could
right.
agree with that one. Yeah.
okay. Right, next on the list is Edgar Berlanga has party company with Top Rank. What do you guys know about this? I know very little about this.
Well,
Well, I mean, go ahead, Tom.
well, he hasn't looked good in his last 4 fights. He was on a string of knockouts, and then he kind of got exposed and almost lost against the guy he shouldn't have. So I think Top Rank is just cutting their losses at this point. What do you think, Spencer?
Yeah, I think his drawing power of being able to knock everybody out kind of waned. So he needs to box. He needs to get a trainer that's going to show him how to set up his power punches
Right,
better.
his father trains him, right?
I'm not sure, but yeah, he definitely needs somebody better than who he has, because, like you said, that first decision that he got, he didn't look too good in, and it looked like kind of lost ever since. Like, if he can't knock the guy out, it's like he's lucky that he's going up against the opponents that he's going up against. It's not too dangerous, but like, he has power. He could be able to do something. He's young enough. I think he's still young. He's young
Yeah,
enough that they could switch him up and work on some things, but he has to be willing to do it. They have to be willing to give up. If it is his father, it's a hard thing to stop training your kid. You know, and
Yeah.
be like, "You're not good enough." He's like,
He's
"I got a
also
mitzvah."
Yeah, there's also been reports of him partying too much and not training enough.
Oh, yeah, he
So
definitely needs a different
yeah, well,
trainer that's gonna get on him.
I think you're right. I don't think we should waste more time on this guy.
Yeah.
Hey, what's next?
Right. Next, Tommy Fury against Jake Paul has been apparently confirmed again, or before it gets cancelled again. I don't think this fight will actually happen. Seriously, we've been fucked about so much. It's like I believe it when I see them step in the ring.
Yeah.
And I believe Tommy Fury would win this fight.
I got Paul on this one.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking Paul too because
Don't get me wrong, I like Jake Paul. I've got so much respect for him for what he's doing. I know he's fighting old MMA fighters, but at least he's beaten people who have been world champions, you know, in their other combat sport. Whereas Tommy Fury struggles to beat journeyman.
Yeah, like in comparison, as far as Jake Paul and his career as a boxer, he just so happens to start a career early on, and it's being all of his early fights are publicized pay-per-view fights. You know,
Isn't he the biggest, highest paid man in boxing? He's got to be.
he said the highest paid guy.
I mean, is he?
You know,
is he higher paid than Canelo? I don't think he is he?
No, I don't think he's
not
getting
as much
paid more
as
than Canelo.
but he
But
gets
he-
millions. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he gets millions because he got a Showtime deal, I think.
Well, I've got respect for him. He's a guy who did Disney. He's somebody that did YouTube that your grandkids and your kids watch. But obviously, we're too old to have seen all that rubbish. But, you know, I think he's a good novice. That's all he is. He's a good novice. He's nothing more than that. We need to keep it realistic, you know. This guy, Jake Paul, will never win a world title.
How old is Jake Paul anyway?
25. No, 20, let me think, 26. He could improve, you know, he could win an intercontinental title and get a world ranking or something, but I don't think he's ever going to, win a world title. He may even fight for a world title if they steer it correctly, you know.
Well, it depends on how hard he works, and he's a hard worker. I mean,
If he
he's
puts
been
the work
knocking
in,
these
then he can
guys
do
cold.
anything.
Hey,
Yeah, I mean,
there's always the Bridger weight.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's probably got more talent than Alan Babbitt, actually. I mean, that's not saying much, though, is it? Right,
Nah.
let's move on. Dillian White has offered Derek Chisora an MMA fight. Right. Basically, Dillian White is a former kickboxing world champion, apparently. And he also has a background, whereas Chisora has no background in MMA. I believe he does a bit of training, but it's a mismatch.
How big was Dillian White when he was kickboxing?
What do you mean in weight terms of weight?
Yeah.
I think he was about 210 pounds or something.
Wow.
Yeah, I was thinking he was much lighter. His fat ass ain't kicking nobody.
He was about 210 pounds, I believe. Let me have a
Well, he could kick him in the leg and the thigh or something.
Yeah, he could kick him in the shin or something.
Oh man! But these guys, you know, they don't realize if they gotten there with somebody real and they got down on the floor, it would be over so fast. Like with James Toney, as soon as you went down to the floor, it was over. You know?
And Dillian White trying to look for a payday. He know he can't. Nobody's gonna buy a Derek Chisora White 3. You know.
No way. Nah.
Yeah, they would. I think people in Britain would. Not your end of the world, but people in Britain would see Chisora. I would
go up against Dillian White again.
Yeah, but to be honest, both fighters, Dillian White is very shot now, and so is Chisora. I actually think Chisora might have a chance of beating White now. You know, would you agree with that? With how shot his chin is now.
I mean, both the other fights is close. So
Chisora can take more punishment before he goes down. That's for sure.
Yeah, before White. Yeah. So
White hits clean. He wobbles.
Yeah, but White could outbox Chisora, you know.
Definitely.
He knows how to box now. Obviously, we saw that fight that in his what's his name? His coach, Fudge, not Fudge.
No, he can
Anyway,
box. He's become a
Yeah.
Povetkin.
Yeah, his new
He
coach.
did
yeah.
well against Povetkin. Yeah.
Oh, who's his new coach?
It was Ed, the guy who coaches Kovalov.
Oh, Buddy McGirt?
Buddy McGirt.
Yeah, Buddy
Yeah,
McGirt.
that's it. Yeah.
No, that's
But
good.
this is just
He
a
has a good
publicity
coach.
stunt.
Shit, he almost lost that last fight.
But this is just a way to keep Dillian's name relevant. He knows he's finished as a top 10 heavyweight.
Yeah, he got one more payday.
But
Let's
they're
hope so.
saying that he will fight Joshua at some point. You know,
That's
then
the
he'll get
that's the payday that I'm talking about.
I think
There
He's
you
gonna get a
go.
rematch.
I think he needs to retire soon. You know, he's more shot than what he should be. At this stage, he
agree.
shouldn't be as shot as he is. You know,
Definitely.
Nah, but they might set up Joshua versus White in a rematch on AJ's comeback trail.
do you
But
think?
he'll look good against Dylan White. I think
Do you
he'll look
think
good
Dylan
against Dylan
White
White.
will go the path of Derek Chisora, where he's got like 15 losses or whatever? Because I can see that happening with him.
I don't know. I really don't know his mindset because if he fights AJ, right, that's some money. If he gets demolished by AJ, then he should definitely call it a day.
Walk away.
But if it's a competitive, if it's like sort of competitive or whatever, then he could be a gatekeeper and get like, $500,000, $1 million a fight to fight these guys coming up.
As a boxer, you've got to know when your time has come to an end. Obviously, if you can get a payday, but you've got to know when it's over. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on. Tony Yoka is going to fight Carlos Takam in a rematch.
A rematch.
I don't think they ever fought.
He's going to have a comeback fight against Tony Yoka. Tony Yoka's going to have a comeback fight against Takam. Sorry, they've never fought before. This is a crossroads for both. I think at this point, Yoka will win. I think Takam's finished.
You think he's fresher?
Yeah.
Wow.
Even though
Big Daddy, Big Daddy didn't make him look very fresh. He made him look very stale.
But to be fair,
I mean, Bacoli is not no bad fighter though.
No, he's a good fighter. He's improved. Tony,
he's not
really improved.
Bacoli got some good, decent names on his resume too. So
yeah,
that was just a step too far, too soon for Yoka.
Mm-hmm.
Yoka wasn't ready for that.
Right, because Bacoli could beat Takam, I think. Takam or however you think.
I still believe Tony Yoka would beat Daniel Dubois if they fought.
Wow.
Bacoli would beat Dubois.
I want to see Yoka versus Hrgovic. In the pro rank.
I think I'd pick Hrgovic every time.
Me too.
So
Hrgovic is pretty strong,
Yeah, he didn't look that impressive against Zhang, but he looked good against
that fight. I don't think
we about to talk about him, right? Ain't we?
I'm not sure. Let me look.
Let me
Who, Hrgovic?
No, we not. We not.
No,
because wasn't there some news about Hrgovic fighting somebody? Ruiz.
Yeah.
Ruiz.
Ruiz.
IBF mandated them.
That's at the bottom of the list.
Okay.
We'll get
Next on the list is Manny Pacquiao is interested in fighting. Who was it?
It looks like he's going to fight Lundin.
Anthony Medina.
Yeah, Anthony Lundin.
The
Australian middleweight dude?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy.
They're going to do
it's only an exhibition.
But that'll be good in that part of the world. That'll draw interest. I don't know if I'm interested in it, but it would draw interest.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people in Australia don't like Mundine.
No, because he's an idiot. He's an idiot. He said some pretty silly things.
You said they don't?
Yeah, they don't like Mundine.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's not like well received over there.
Well, I'm sure everybody in Asia is going to want to tune in. I mean, they did in his last exhibition fight against the Korean guy. I think this is why they're doing it in that area because, you know, if they could get somebody from Japan, get somebody from the Philippines, Korea, Australia, and, you know, there's a big crowd for boxing there, too. Even the Arab nations would tune into that.
Without question, I'm not because Manny Pacquiao is definitely a draw. Mundine is bigger than Manny Pacquiao. And the hatred that people got for Mundine in this area will make people want to see him get beat up by Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
So
So,
so it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, he's not well received over. It's not like he gonna get like a hometown rooting for him, you know?
yeah, now refresh my memory. Why did they dislike him? I forgot.
Because he said something controversial about September the 11th. I remember it.
Oh,
And because he's Aborigine as well, and they don't really like Aborigines because Australia's a pretty racist country.
yeah.
Yeah, he kind of said all that stuff. So.
Aborigine. Right, we'll move on.
Tomorrow.
Eubank versus Smith. I think
I'm,
Eubank is going to edge this on points.
I'm going with Smith on this.
No, I don't see a. What do you think, Spencer?
Yeah, I don't even know, man. Because Smith is, in my opinion, a better boxer than Eubank. Right? He fundamentally he throws punches better. Eubank is a guy that he doesn't he kind of tried, in my opinion, he tried to emulate like Roy Jones fighting, but he's not that good as Roy Jones.
Yeah.
Is
But
Roy
I mean,
Jones? Roy Jones is training him, or Smith? He's
Yeah,
training.
Roy Jones is training him again.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
yeah. But I want to lean for Eubank. Going to lean for Eubank.
I think Smith has been more active, and I think.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I'm
you
going
guys are
to go
missing
with
something
Smith.
here. No, you're missing something here. Who's had the harder career? Smith.
Exactly.
He had a war with Anthony Fowler that takes a lot of you. He had a war with Magomed. He had a war with the last fight. The last 4 or 5 fights he's had have been wars. Even that fight he had with, is it Garcia?
Canelo too.
Yeah. He's had the last 7 fights, even though he's won most of the fights, they've all been wars. Eubank hasn't had that many wars. And I know that Eubank is tougher physically. He's stronger. And
he's stronger. I will agree on that one.
And
I definitely agree.
And he's fought bigger guys. He's fought super middleweight guys that hit a lot harder than him. Smith is a big hitter, but he's not a real middleweight. He's a super lightweight. So you've got a guy who's fought a super middleweight fighting a guy who's a super
welter.
So really, this is Eubank should win this, and when it comes to be on point, he has.
You make a good point.
That's the point. That's the reason why I'm leaning toward Eubank because of his size, the size difference. Like he's been in there with one, like Nathan just said, he's been in there with 168ers.
He's been in there with Groves, who's actively like heavyweight. So you're fighting. So a guy who can fight basically sort of like who walks around at lightweight, light heavyweight, is going to be fighting a guy who's a super featherweight. He's going to outweigh him by quite a bit. When they're rehydrated. I just think Eubank is just too big and too powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Where the skill does lie with Smith, but it's not going to be enough. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, if their fight measures up to their press fight conference, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
This is a fight. If you're Eubank, this is a fight you should make. You want to make a show of Smith. You want to make an example out of it.
Yes, because you want to because with a nice showing against Liam Smith, he's going to have some suitors after that. Some people want him.
Yeah, he did struggle. He did beat Liam Williams, a guy who controversially lost to Smith, didn't he? About 4 or 5 years ago, if you remember.
Yeah, he lost to him twice.
Yeah, but they were controversial. Both times it was controversial.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good scrap. I think Smith is going to bring it, and if he can walk through what Eubank is going to throw at him, then it's going to be a good fight. We'll see who holds up.
Yeah. Well, what's next?
YouTubers have a night of action-packed fights. KSI KO's Fazil.
I watched this. I paid for this. I watched it. Right.
Big knockout.
Let me see the first fight. Where is it? Let's have a look. So a guy called Salt Papi, who was a guy from Philippines, knocked out Josh Brunecker with a beautiful punch in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Swansea beat Ryan Taylor. That was a pointless fight because Ryan Taylor quit. Got hit in the head. Joe Fournier beat some guy I've never heard of before. Joe Fournier is a proper professional fighter who's fought David Hay. And then there was a girl called... Sorry?
Yeah, the girls put up a good fight. That was a good one.
Yeah, I watched that. It was a fantastic fight. This Ellie Brook girl won. And then you had a guy called Pineda who was a guy that was knocked out by KSI in his last fight, and he's a professional with 7 losses and 2 wins. And that lasted about, and the terrible guy beat the British guy. And then you had the main event, which was KSI against Fazy, and it was a rubbish fight. It was over in 1 round. And then Joe Fournier at the end of the night challenged KSI.
Well, you see, those were all action fights, and that's why, and they have this YouTube audience. And I mean, when you have a card like we'll talk about later with F.A. Ajaba, fighting a 12-round snoozer, you could see why these YouTubers are watching.
I only watched the other fight card tonight. I watched it about 2 hours ago. I watched those fights, and I tell you what, right, we'll go on to our next thing. But before, so what do you got? This YouTube boxing short, I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger because KSI, his company Misfits, have signed a 5-year deal with DAZN.
Yep, that's going to happen.
This YouTube boxing it's never going to take over, but it will be big. What do you think?
That's entertainment. Go ahead, Spencer.
That's it. I'm agreeing with both of y'all. It's not going to be what boxing is. The main boxing event, but it's definitely going to draw interest. Got its little niche.
Right.
Let's move on to our next thing. Johnny Rice stops Vianello on a bad cut, almost lost because of the ref errors. Do we need a replay? I think we need to have a rematch, I think, from what I saw.
Not a rematch, but we need a replay, because they almost gave the bout to Vianello.
Yeah,
and stopping it, and the referee didn't call it, a cut from a blow, which is a TKO. So on the Indian reservation, as Spencer pointed out on the website, they had the rule for instant replay, and then the referee overturned his decision.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Spencer.
This is what happened, and this is the thing I want to mention. The referee, and he was. I can't remember the dude's name, but he reffed some fights before. Like I've seen him ref before, and it was shocking that he did what he did. Right? He came and he was saying it was a head clash. I seen it. He said, "I seen a head clash. That's the reason why the cut opened up." And then they were showing the replay. He said it at the end. It was a head clash. I seen it. Like and then at the end when they kept showing the replay, I'm like, their heads didn't even get near each other during that time. So what did he see to say that? Oh, that was that? Because it was a clear punch.
Right, and Johnny Rice said, like, I hit him with the fucking right hand.
Yeah, and I think see, what happened is New York doesn't have instant replay. It was in New York. So the state of New York, the state boxing commission don't allow instant replay in boxing, right? However, since it was on the Indian reservation, the Indian reservation said, nah, we get to choose our own rules. We don't have to follow the state's rules because we're our own nation. Exactly. So they were able to do what they did. But it was Tim Bradley, and I think Andre Ward was there, but Tim Bradley and the the announcers that kept saying, "No, man, it was a punch. It was a punch." I mean, and
Yeah.
them guys could all hear him. They was like, "Yo, it was a punch, man. That's wrong, man. Y'all about to get a fight to the wrong guy." And
Well, they were very nice to the ref though. They were very cordial. Say, "Come on down here, watch this," you know. And then the
yeah,
ref was like, "Okay, yeah, that's right. It's a TKO." But
yeah,
what he was drinking or smoking, I don't know where he saw a headbutt from.
yeah, man. He said it was a clash of heads. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
Now that you said it, you have to justify why you said that statement. 'Cause
Well, I don't think he justified anything. He just changed his mind.
yeah, he's like, you know what? I'm giving the decision, so I ain't even got to deal with it.
Right. Let's just stop before it gets any worse, right?
Yeah.
Right, I believe Johnny Rice has got
That,
3 good wins now that he can get a good payday. I think he could you could put him in the conversation for a Joshua fight, couldn't you? I know he's not a perfect opponent, but
they
Well,
should.
Johnny's a good fighter.
maybe it's just
he could. Go ahead, Spencer.
I was gonna say
Jared Anderson should be his next fight.
they. Yeah. I mean, if you want to get Rice beat up, but I think that they should. Wait, this is a top ranked card, so it might not be on that. I was gonna say they should set. Maybe this would be a Dubois comeback fight for him after the injury. Dubois could fight Rice coming back.
Good.
Yeah, he could, but I don't think you know what? Who knows? With the way Daniel Dubois is developing into fight, I don't have a lot of faith in the guy, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I got you, and
Yeah.
you got a bad leg, so who knows how that injury
I
went.
mean, you definitely, yeah, he should beat Johnny Rice, but Johnny Rice is improving. I know I shouldn't say it, but he is. He's getting a little bit better.
Yeah, he was game for that fight.
Yeah, and it worked in his favor. So let's segue into a Jabba versus Shaw because I picked the Jabba, and you two guys picked Shaw. So I was right on this one. But I'm only gloating here. But do we think he's ready for prime time based on this performance? I don't think so. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
No, he
No way.
Nah, he's moving along too slowly. From the point, like when he was on the PBC cards or whatever, he was knocking everybody out, and then he had to fight with the
Frank
what was
Sanchez.
Nah, it was a fight before that he won, but it was a decision that he won, and he had got knocked
down, right?
Right, he got knocked down. Right, and he got knocked down. So that one it kind of started to show. Right. That's the one he got knocked down in, right?
Yeah.
He knocked down and he come back and knocked him in the fifth year against Go. That's a few years ago now.
But I think like you kind of seen some chinks in his armor and some things that he had to work on. And then Frank Sanchez is really kind of like showed who he was the better guy of the two. He was the better prospect.
Do you know that he spars with Jared Anderson?
Who, FA or Sanchez?
FA.
Yeah.
That's good sparring session. That's good sparring session for Jared too, because FA has a good jab. I'm not going to take that away from him. He has a decent jab, but
you know what? When I look at a jabber, he reminds me of a poor man's Wilder, but with a bit more skill.
Yeah, he's a controlled Wilder. He's a tamed Wilder. You know, that's what they was trying to.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
They was trying to like market him as, because you know he had the nice right hand. He was able to knock people out.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this based upon what I saw.
He's got good power.
Yes.
He's got no defense.
But what I know,
Garrett.
Well, but what I noticed from him defensively was the way he was controlling distance with the jab and not letting him get caught with the right hand by moving in and out forward, like going to the front foot, then leaning to the back foot, then moving back and forth in and out. That was the way he was able to get away with some of those punches and keep him at the end of keep Shaw at the end of the jab, and exert power every once in a while on him, because that's what kept Shaw away. Once he felt the power, he didn't take as many chances to go inside.
Yeah, because Shaw going into the fight, he had the right mind frame of I got to keep him on his back foot, but he wasn't able to execute because, like you said, Jabba was in and out every now and then, showing him the power that just in case you come in too reckless, you might get caught.
Yeah, and he was trying to catch him too. He was trying to catch him with the right, but the way he was moving back and forth was good, because the punches were just grazing his chin when he would lean back like about 5 inches or so. Those punches wouldn't land.
Right.
And he also was hitting the body pretty well. Anyway, I guess he's got more work to do. What about this fight with AJ and McKean? Is that happening over there, Nathan?
It's not cemented in, but I think it will happen. And Joshua would destroy him, to be honest, in about 5 or 6 rounds. I don't think McKean's very good. He's not on that level. He's a good fighter, but he's just not on that level. No, nothing's been signed.
It's not signed yet, then.
No.
There was rumors of another person, not Dylan White, but another person, and not McKean, that AJ was supposed to be fighting. I can't think of the name right now on his comeback fight.
I think we talked about that last time. I forgot the name too. This is more recent. So anyway, but if you think of it, let's talk about it. But in the meantime, Parker's fighting on tomorrow's card versus Massey. And did you see the weight difference? 245.
Yeah, I did.
213?
It's ridiculous. The problem is Jack Massey is a cruiserweight. He's a British level cruiserweight, right? He's won British titles, he's won European, and he's won the IBO. He's the current reigning IBO cruiserweight champion, and he was. But he's not on the same level. This guy wouldn't even be in the top 10 British heavyweights. It's just a mismatch as a cherry pick, and Massey will get.
You know what's so crazy? We already explained this fight. I mean, the particulars of this fight. Yeah. Michael Hunter was supposed to be on the card, right? Yeah. They wanted Michael Hunter to fight Massey. Michael Hunter said, "Let me fight Joseph Parker."
Yeah.
They said no. WBA for some reason took Michael Hunter out of their rankings, but they said no. Yeah, they said no, and then Parker's fighting Massey. That's crazy. That's bananas.
It is.
Like Parker said no.
So you're saying, is there a WBA belt on the line of any sort? Like a bobble or whatever?
It might be. I don't know.
What makes me laugh about this fight is if you're a guy who's supposedly a top 15 heavyweight, why would you choose a guy who's not even in the top 20 of the world rankings in cruiserweight? To me, that don't make any sense.
I mean,
why wouldn't you just pick a heavyweight?
To be fair to Joseph Parker, this is his first fight after getting his ass kicked by Joey. So,
come on,
he did get his ass.
Cruiserweight. That's
I mean, I agree that he shouldn't fight Massey. He should fight like maybe a comeback heavyweight, full-fledged heavyweight guy, and not no Bridgerweight guy. But yeah, this is crazy. Like he could afford. Yeah, that's crazy. He could afford a bunch of other people. He could have. Yeah, he could afford somebody else.
Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, maybe he just needs to get in the ring and just get through the fight and, get some confidence back and see how he's taking punches. Because he took a lot of strong punches against Joyce, boy.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna chalk it up to, because I don't think Joseph Parker's scared of Michael Hunter.
No, I don't think so.
He's just too dangerous. He's too dangerous. That's why he's not fighting.
Like, not in the next fight after losing the damn, what's it called?
Jerry
I
Forrest.
think he after losing to Joyce, he ain't gonna come back and fight
Do you know what makes me
Arthur.
laugh about this fight? I'm just going to check if it's for any belt. So let me double check if it's for any belt.
Might be a WBA Intercontinental.
That's what I'm just
Yeah,
looking for.
I think that's what it is actually.
So,
It is.
how convenient is that? Like you say, it's very convenient, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But you
No,
know,
it's not for anything. There's no belt on the line. No belt.
Massey could be very motivated and you know go for it. We'll see what happens. But Parker
Is
does hit
Massey
hard.
ranked by the WBA?
No. We've got no world rankings of anyone other than the IBO belt he had. That was it. But the problem is, right, for me, from what I can see, is just I think look when you look at Parker's career, he's won a world title. He's worth about £6 million or £7 million. He's made his money. You know, whatever he does from now, no one will ever say anything bad about his career. You know, he had a good career. Won a world title. You know, made a couple of defenses.
He's a respectable fighter. He's a respectable guy.
Yeah.
You know, it's not his fault he didn't get the
Yeah.
rematch with AJ when
No.
he should have. I thought he should have gotten a
Well,
rematch.
again, he's made his money. He's won his world title. You can't do any more than that. I don't think. You know.
Hey, listen, not everybody could be the best guy in the division.
No, but if you win a world title, you can hang your head up and walk away with what's saying, well, at least I won.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. So, and he had notable wins. Like he beat Andy
He beat
Ruiz.
Ruiz. That's Ruiz.
Yeah.
Yeah, he beat Ruiz. He beat. Didn't he beat the other guy from? Yeah, he did that.
Kelly Meehan. And he beat Carlos Takam. And I think Carlos Takam was his best. Carlos Takam was one of his best wins.
He beat didn't he beat Huey Fury too? Or y'all said that already?
Yes, he did. And then he had his first defense against that Romanian guy who got blasted out by everybody. I can't remember, you know who I mean, but I can't remember his name.
Homeboy, his sparring partner, Razjanjovic or something.
Razvan Kajani, yeah, that's it. Razvan Kajani.
Let's say something. So
right, next tomorrow night we've got Romain Stiverne fighting Jonathan Goodry. I'm going to pick based on current form. Stiverne hasn't won a fight for 7 years, for six years, and Jonathan Goodry narrowly lost to Trevor Bryant. So I'm going to pick Jonathan Goodry to win this. Stiverne was 262 pounds. Goodry's 252.
262. That's big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that too.
Good old Don. Don's causing trouble again.
Yeah. Keeping his former champion busy.
That's true.
Stiverne needs to walk away.
Now
he's 44. He needs to walk away.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he's
won a
looking
world
shot
title
to me anyway.
But he won again. He's another guy that won a world title. You know, did more than what he ever should have really done with his ability. But, you know, he did.
Mm-hmm.
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 But if you're fighting Jonathan Goodry on a Don King card, then you know the end is near, or the end is long gone.
Yeah.
I looked at the rest of the card. It's absolutely terrible.
It's the Don King promotion.
Well, he used to put on the best fights. He did.
Isn't it embarrassing that this man?
And exactly, and it's crazy that his chief rival, one of the chief rivals, even from back then, is still going strong with his company, and Don King couldn't maintain it like Bob Arum did. And Bob Arum got in trouble and all of that with the organization.
I have some more news. Apparently, the IBF have ordered Hrgović against
Ruiz.
And Ruiz, right? But
yeah,
this has been explained to me. Eddie Hearn and Nisa Sutherland have done a massive swerve here because obviously Andy Ruiz is meant to fight Wilder, so that fight will never happen. So that'd
be so funny.
So then at number 2 in the IBF rankings is vacant. Number 3. So number 3 is Andy Ruiz, obviously number 4 is Wilder. How fun is that? Number 5 is Joshua. So they're saying here that this will be for the IBF interim belt. So the winner of Joshua will be ordered to fight Hrgovic. But obviously Joshua will have a warm-up fight first. Then he'll go straight into this. Then the winner of the Hrgovic Joshua fight would then be declared the full champion at some point in the next 6 months to a year. This is a good swerve by Eddie Hearn, isn't it, really?
Listen, Hrgovic is going to have to fight somebody when AJ fights whoever he fights. They're not going to let Hrgovic wait until AJ fights a fight and then fight him. So he's going to have to, and I'm not sure what the IBF does because they're kind of strict. But if you pass on your spot, on your shot when it's your turn to get the call, and you say nah, you might get removed from their rankings.
That's right.
I believe that Joshua doesn't deserve this title shot, personally. I believe it should be offered to Martin Bakul or Frank Central, Adric Cabal. Obviously, if Joshua turned it down, Bakul turned it down, Sanchez turned it down. For the vacant belt, he should be able to fight somebody else other than Joshua. So he can have his moment, So obviously Sanchez and Bakul wouldn't be able to take it because of promotional issues. I think Adric Caballero would take the fight, would fight Hrgovic for the title if he was given the opportunity.
Wait, who's after AJ?
Martin Bakul.
And who's after Bakul?
Frank Sanchez.
Listen,
but isn't
you don't think
Frank Sanchez a PBC fighter?
And you don't think what's it called to go get that belt? He think Frank Sanchez could beat Hrgovic and PBC believes that.
I know he could. But Eddie
PBC would believe that.
Eddie Hearn would never pick him. They would pick Adric Caballero.
He can't pick him. He don't have the choice. IBF gets to select who is fighting for the title. And they go down the list.
Yeah.
So if Bakoli, I think Bakoli would take it though, but if Bakoli don't take it, then it goes to the next guy, and then the next guy, and then the next guy. So if Caballero ain't right
down the list.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I could imagine there been some foul play here by Eddie Hearn or by certain promoters messing things up. I can see it happen. Do you understand? So that they've wriggled it here. Eddie Hearn and Sutherland, they've wriggled this really well. It's a good job for the networks. It's played into their favour, isn't it?
I think, it'll be funny if Ruiz take the fight. Be like, you know what? Let me go grab that IBF tape.
I'm being serious.
Well, Ruiz is looking
could you
very,
imagine
very
if
good
Hrgovic
right now in
fought
training.
Joshua? But could you imagine if Joshua lost to Hrgovic? And Hrgovic is a very good fighter, but he's very underrated. He could pull off a shot. I'm not saying it will happen, but it could happen. We have to keep that in mind.
Hrgovic is dangerous for anybody.
And he's very dangerous for Joshua.
He's got yeah.
This is a nightmare situation for Joshua. He would have liked it if it had been somebody else. But
listen, if I think Ruiz should take it.
Jesus.
Yeah, what does Ruiz has to look? And he's looking sharp in training.
So do I.
Very
because
sharp.
I think he'd beat Hrgovic comfortably. He'd beat Hrgovic.
Yeah.
And then whose dance partner is Wilder going to have? What dance
They'll
partner
find some other fighter from the graveyard.
Who could Wilder fight if Ruiz fought Hrgovic? Let me see. He done fought all the PBC bums.
Charles Martin.
So, I don't want to call him bums, but he could fight Charles Martin. He never fought Charles Martin. He could fight Charles Martin. He never fought Charles Martin. We got Lewis on
round, and then Charles Martin can go back to taking drugs and making an idiot of himself.
we can have a Ortiz. God. We can have a Wilder Ortiz trilogy.
In other news, right? Joe Joyce is scheduled to fight Zhang Zili for the WBO interim belt on the 15th of April. This is a
I
good fight.
like
I like it.
I like that
Wait,
fight actually.
wait. Hold up. I'm confused. I thought Joe Joyce versus Joseph Parker was for the interim title. That wasn't for the
No,
interim
it was. Yeah,
title?
it was. Sorry, this is a defense. The
Oh,
WBO
okay.
interim title.
I'm about to say, wait, I
Sorry.
thought he already had that.
Right. So this, for me, this is an interesting fight because we know Zhang can hit hard, and he's vulnerable.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I think Joe Joyce still beats him.
Joyce
But
will
Zane,
hurt him.
isn't saying a southpaw?
He
Yeah, he
is.
is. Yeah, he is.
He does
So he's
have.
going.
He does get tired. He does get tired later in the fight.
Yeah, and
He's
and
old. He's like,
I'm not sure he got enough pop to stop Joyce from coming forward.
He hasn't. What
no,
you got
wait
to
a minute.
remember is
No. He does have pop.
he does
Yeah,
have enough power to hurt.
he dropped Hergovich, and wobbled him a couple of times during that fight. He has a lot of pop. The thing is, he can't sustain it. That's the problem.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just going, in all no disrespect to Hergovich's chin, I'm just saying, Joe Joyce seems to have Joe Joyce seems to have a solid jaw.
Yeah, rock solid jaw.
I
Yeah.
do believe that Joyce has relied too much on that jaw, and at some point that will be his undoing. Not in this fight, but later on when he gets, with the real top guys like the Wilders and people like, I do believe that Joyce walks him down, stops him in probably 5 or 6 rounds. I don't think Zhang's a good enough fighter to beat him. Joyce, he'll steamroll him like he's done with everyone else.
Yeah, like
Do you
that.
think that Joyce's technique is a bit weird? He just moves forward and starts throwing random punches, and only about 40 or 50% of them hit.
I think you just described it. That's weird.
Now, let me ask
exactly
you:
what it is.
Is he like George Foreman? Does he fight like George Foreman, Tom?
I think he does.
So
I'm talking like the young one.
A little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
except he's a better boxer.
Joyce moves forward like that.
A better boxer. Yeah, he pressures you with his size, is what he
demonstrate.
does.
Yeah, man. He's just I can't help but envision Foreman's like fights against Frazier and all those Norton and all.
So Joyce,
yeah,
I've never seen anybody use a technique. His technique is worse than Foreman's was, not as good, but he'll walk forward like that. Like that. He looked like like that. And then,
but psychologically, that's going to break you down. Imagine you're fighting a guy who's much bigger than you, and you hit him with everything, and he doesn't even move, and he keeps coming at you and keeps throwing punches, whether they land or not.
They'll hit him here. So he's moving forward. All he's doing is moving. He's getting punched in the head, and he's not doing anything. He's not showing any defense.
Yeah, but that'll break down a fighter's will as well as make him, raise his level of anxiety, burn his adrenaline, make him tired, and then eventually that's all going to catch up. That's how he wins.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
The Juggernaut, man. The Juggernaut. They get his
and the
name.
Juggernaut is what, 39 or 40 now?
37. He's 37.
Well, Zhang is what, 42?
Zhang's 40, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good match. I think Zhang has got more tools, and he's a southpaw. But
look, we're not going to see Joyce going on for another 3-4 years. Joyce will probably win the title or whatever. He'll win this fight. He'll be declared champion because obviously the belts will be splintered after the Fury fight or whatever, and then he'll walk away from the sport. He'll make a couple of big money defenses and walk away. There's not a lot really Joyce can really do. He should be world champion by now, full world champion.
Yeah, but
nobody
we got
wants
people
to fight him.
And he put himself in a position where they better fight him soon.
Nobody, you got to remember, nobody did Joyce any favors. He had to fight all the contenders. He had to fight like the Parkers and who's the other guy that he fought?
Dubois.
And there's another guy he fought before that. A guy who was Jennings. Is it Michael Jennings? Brian Jennings, yeah.
Brian Jennings.
all these people that are former world champions or they fought for world titles or they've won world titles. Like Dubai, I mean, for me, Joyce destroys Dubai every time. You know,
Well,
how that man has a belt right now, it's kind of embarrassing.
no, I don't think
Yeah.
so. I think he's got a belt for a reason.
Who did he beat? I mean, he beat a guy who wasn't a serious, contender. He beat Brian. Trevor Bryan's a good fighter, but he's not a top 20 fighter, is he? You know, I think Dubai in time will become a good fighter, but right now he's not there. He's not where he needs to be. You know, I think
I'm talking about Joyce, not Dubai.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Joyce is already there. He should be a full world
Yeah.
champion.
Okay, good. Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah, he's definitely.
Could you imagine if he was 27 and he was in his prime? Jesus, he could dominate the division.
All right, is Zhang a step up from Parker?
Yes,
step
in
down.
my opinion.
He's a step down.
No, I don't believe so. I believe he's a step up. If you look at the way he fights, it's going to be a difficult fight.
But he's not a step up from Dubai, is he? He's a step down from Dubai, I'd say.
It's going to be a hard fight for Joyce because of the size is similar.
Yeah.
And he's a southpaw and he also has power.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to be careful. He can't stop all the punches with his face. I mean, sooner or later something's going to hurt him.
Yeah,
Sooner or
without
later,
question.
it will be his undoing. Yeah.
Joseph Parker hit hard enough that them solid shots would have put down mostly or wobbled a lot of other heavyweights.
Yeah.
I agree. Definitely. You know. So what else do we have to talk about? We went through the whole list, it looks like.
Let me have a look.
I think we
Yeah,
talked
that's
about
it.
everything.
Right,
Yeah,
that's
that's
it.
it.
We'll be back next week then, I guess.
Yeah, we got a good fight next week, Beterbiev and Yard, so that should be fun to talk about.
Is that next week, is it? Oh.
Yes, it is. It's next week. I watched some training videos of Beterbiev. Oh my God, the guy is just scary.
I hope Yard has written his will. That's all I can say.
Well,
I'm glad they're fighting this early in the year so that we could possibly get Beterbiev versus Bivol before Bivol fights Canelo again.
well, that's what the plan is. That's Bivol doesn't care about Canelo. He's letting him hang. And I don't think Canelo he says he wants him. I think when the time comes, he's not going to fight him. Especially if he destroys Beterbiev.
I could see if Eubank blows out Liam Smith, that damn Canelo might fight Chris Eubank.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a good money fight, right? It'll score in England.
And that could be the fight that he could fight. I mean, he could fight John Ryder in the UK also.
You know what?
I think that's a good fight for him. Yes,
I think the Anthony Yard fight is a bit of a coup that they managed to get the champion to come all the way from Canada to fight in England. I think that's pretty impressive that it's happening in Wembley. You know,
right?
I don't think I think Beterbiev is levels above Yard. He's levels above him. We need to be honest about it. You know,
Yard about to get murdered.
I don't know how Yard how do you lose to a shot Kovalov, a fight he should have won, he nearly won, and then lose.
Okay, hold on. Who nearly won? Yard did not Kovalev. Nearly beat Kovalev. Yard had one good round.
No, in 8th round, he nearly had him out on his feet. And this is a shot Kovalev.
Yeah, but he didn't. But he did not. He did not do it. You know, he's not going to. The only chance he has is catching Beterbiev cold as he walks out to the center of the ring with a huge right hand.
Kovalov's chin. No, not Kovalov. Sorry, Beterbiev's chin is a little bit suspect in some ways because obviously he got knocked down by Callum Johnson, who smacked him with a punch that knocked most light heavyweights out. Right?
That was a great shot, and he got up. So Marciano got up, twice in 2 different fights.
But I do believe Beterbiev. I mean, he's 37 now. You know, the end ain't too far away, but he can unify this division a bit more. I do believe that he destroys Yard in 2 or 3 rounds. I think Yard, he does. How can you lose to a Shot Kovalov and then lose to Arthur Linden, not Linden Arthur, and then beat a guy who's Commonwealth? To me, he hasn't earned that title shot. For me,
Well, he's lucky. So we could talk about it more next week. I think
Okay.
we should watch what the press conference is like and see what they look like. Watch the training videos of Beterbiev, man. The guy is just a beast.
He's a monster. He's just a monster. Look what he did.
Yo,
to
he
Joe
got his fists, his hands is like center blocks.
I know. Yeah, you've got to see him do push-ups, man. It's insane.
Yo,
It's
that's crazy. Anyway,
All right.
I'm gonna see y'all next week, man. Speak to
Hey,
y'all
it
next
was a
week, man.
pleasure.
guys.
It was a pleasure, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Nathan.
See you later.
Bye-bye.